Andy and Dan Barry have started this little project where they're using a galvanometer to move the laser line, and that's a shoe. You can check that out. So, I mean, I want to scan my head. I want to scan, like, when I need a replacement part, I want to just be able to put it in, scan it, print out a new one. This is like the replicator idea, like tea, Earl Grey hot, and and then it gets interesting when you start, what do you have that at this point, to copy it, you need, what do you have that's this big or smaller that you would want to just copy? Or you could scale it. You could scan your car and make it this big. So there's a scanner group. Everybody argues about which one's the best, and I'm hoping to see more things happen here. This is just a stupid project I did that I think is cool. I was like, I don't need a watch, I'll make one. So it's a watch that has lots of LEDs, and it's an Arduino platform, so you could put modular components. You could put a breathalyzer on it and be like, and it'd be like, okay, yeah, I can't drive. This is one that I'm recently excited about. This is a place nearby called Raumgartagentur, which is space station, and they're a hackerspace nearby. And they're making electric bikes that have this motor in them. And basically, it's not a bicycle and it's not a motorcycle, but it's something awesome in between. And I really want one now. And interestingly enough, MIT just talked about this Copenhagen wheel, which is basically what they're doing, but the Copenhagen wheel, they're adding they want to be able to control it with your iPod, and I think it's mostly, I'd like to see one, but I like that. Wow, I'm really going really quick here. So this is a frontier that I'm excited about that isn't like a hardware frontier. And this is this whole thing that we're doing. Well, first of all, how many of you have ever contributed to an open source project in some way? I'm just kind of curious. Okay, yes. That was really cool. That's wow, that just gave me the shivers. Because what that means is this community especially is capable of doing stuff and sharing it. This is probably one of the most powerful sharing communities in this room and the people watching this stream. And this idea that, we used to have to go to school, and we don't have to anymore. You can, you can make friends there, and you can be inspired by teachers, and it's great. But this thing that's happening where we're sharing means that we're it's going to be a different future. These kids we were at the Maker Faire, which is a thing that happens in San Francisco where people who make things get together and they share their projects. And they're all, I didn't set this up or anything. I was just like, okay, kids, I'm taking a picture. But I really like the idea that these young people might be around adults who are making things instead of buying them. And now a lot of our culture is focused on, oh, I want something. Where am I going to go shopping for that? And I really like the idea that maybe young people in the future, let's just say it's going to happen. In the future, young people like this will think, okay, maybe instead of buying it, I'll just print one out, or I'll just make one. Or let me see if there's an open source project for that first. And that gets me, to me, that's the most exciting thing that's one of the more exciting things that I get excited about with open source projects, software and hardware. So, yeah, I feel like I'm preaching to the converted here, but. So I'm curious, because this is just a few of the cycles, the frontiers that I'm interested in. And I'm curious, what are the frontiers maybe that you're already working on? Twitter that, let's just Twitter that if you have something that you're working on or that you're excited about or that you think more people should be putting spare cycles into. Because I think, if just this room, if there was just if each of us took a day out of the year and use those spare cycles for a project that would, that would develop infrastructure for with a community, it gets really interesting. And I think in some ways we already do that, but it's not there's no there's no way, I don't know about all of these things. So I invite you to do that. I'm happy to talk. I've got a little bit more time, and I would be happy to take lots of questions. I wanted to get done kind of quickly so I could take any questions. So if you've got questions.
Okay, for the people who do have questions, please walk to the microphone. There are 2 of them. They're in the middle of the aisles. And ask Brie anything you'd like.
Yeah. Thank you.
In case you've seen any of these augmented reality applications on Android and iPhone and whatnot, it basically it's a camera, a video camera, and a directional sensor. So for large objects, maybe you could just walk around the object and record both the video and the direction, and then just recompute the shape from that.
There's actually a guy whose name is, I believe, QI, his first name. And he's just done as like a PhD or a dissertation or something on this project. And I should have put that up here, actually. And he uses a webcam and turns the object around in front of it. And it kind of takes a picture and maps it. It looks, I haven't seen any, like, as far as I know, it's just been like, here's a screenshot. And I don't know exactly if it's open or how available it is, but I think that's that's definitely another possibility for scanning things. And yeah, that sounds like a good trail to blaze. Okay. Over here.
Hello, Brie. My name is Neuner. I'm from the hackerspace in Munich, the Capsule. We have had a rep for half a year now, and I wanted to ask you, what software do you use to model or to create your objects in CAD, because all the open software we have tried until now is really horrible compared to professional software or commercial software.
You know, there's a new program that everybody's excited about called OpenSCAD, OpenSCAD, and that's for actually programming 3D objects. And people are getting, I don't think it's not for like drawing dragons, but or modeling dragons, but that's one thing that people are excited about. Blender's about to come out with the new version 2.5, and I'm super excited for that. Are there people in here who are working on that project? Hells yeah, awesome.
Thank you.
So, but to answer your question, why isn't, there are a few programs like AutoCAD, and Inventor is another one. And they are easier to use. And one of the things that, and this might just be my experience, but one of the things that I would love to see more types of people get, like I would like to see more UI designers obsessed with open source. I think that would make things. And I say that because I feel like the open source, especially with Blender, and I think the next version is actually going to. I looked at it the other day, and it looks really awesome, and it looks like it solves. Like I can kind of use it. I can use it now, but it took a long time, so it looks like it's going to be easier. He says there's still a lot missing. Good. That means there's stuff to do still that you can all do, or we can all do together. Next question. Is there another one over here?
Okay. Hello, I'm Richard from C3 and Hackerspace in Luxembourg. I would like to ask about this, about your machine there. What's the tolerances? How precise can you move? Like a tenth of a millimeter? And also, can you adjust sort of like how thin this plastic is coming out or how thick it comes out?
That's a good question. So the question was how accurate it is and what's the layer height, basically. Those are the two. You have the resolution, which is how thick the spaghetti comes out. And that's actually about 1/3 of a millimeter. It depends on your exact nozzle. But I set mine at 0.375. It's actually a 0.5 millimeter nozzle. But when it comes out, if you move that faster, it stretches it a little bit. And if you want, depending on the tolerances you can get on your machine, because some people, depending on how fussy you want to be with it, some people have been able to get it down to like 0.25, 0.3 of a millimeter in terms of layer height. So that's kind of your resolution. That's how thick something's going to be. In terms of how